Thank you for joining our webinar. We'll begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bonjour et bienvenue. Hello and welcome to Nova's webinar on building accelerated mobile pages using CMS platform. Now, the agenda for today's webinar is what is AMP, what is their importance, how does AMP work, how do you build an AMP on CMS platform, basically on Drupal, Magento and WordPress, best practices that should be followed while developing an AMP, and it will be followed by a short question and answer session. Our presenters for tonight are Kandar Patel, who is a PHP lead consultant with over 8 years of experience into PHP and over 7 years of experience into Magento, Drupal and WordPress framework development. He has executed PHP projects across industries like print media, telecommunication, hospital and healthcare. Our second speaker for tonight is Naitik Desai, who is a PHP consultant with over 5 years of experience into PHP technologies and more than 3 years into Magento and Drupal framework development. And I'm your host for tonight. My name is Rohan Pal and I'm the marketing executive. Now, just to tell you a brief about Nova and what it does, we believe in delivering excellence through end-to-end enterprise-grade IT solutions. We have over 180 plus strong team members, and we are among the 20 most promising IT services companies declared by Silicon India magazine. We believe in delivering advanced enterprise software solutions with certified resources and quality assurance. We have delivered over 100 projects within budget to over 50 clients in time, with our experienced provider of diverse open source alternatives to proprietary technologies. We have a global reach with our clients based in USA, mainly in California, Georgia, Florida, and New York, and in Dubai, which is the Middle East, in Europe, United Kingdom, Norway, and France, and a few of our clients are from Australia, Sydney, and Melbourne, basically actors and clients. Our key clients are Geo, Reliance Geo, Hewlett Packard, Tata, Reliance Infrastructure, Panamax, Alembic, Shines, and Actors. Now I'm going to pass over the baton to Naitik, who is going to tell us brief about AMP.
Thank you, Rohan. Hello and welcome all. My name is Naitik, and today I'm going to walk you through AMP concepts and how it works. So before jumping into AMP, first let's talk about what is happening in current web world. So in current mobile scenario, 75% of websites takes more than 10 plus seconds to load. So why it takes so much time? Because generally mobile pages take 1,000 plus requests, and it also consists of more than 5 plus ad networks. So it takes more time to load, and because of that, 50% of mobile website visitors leave after 3 seconds of load time. And survey also shows that more mobile ad revenue will generate for the site that loads in 5 seconds or less than 5 seconds. So today's mobile websites require fast loading and performance. So performance is a feature. So to the user, content and performance is everything, and performance is proportional to engagement. So better your site has performance, so more users will be engaged to your website. And it also requires responsiveness for better user experience. So your mobile website must be fully responsive in order for better user experience. So what you need? So in order to maintain fast mobile websites, you need larger development teams and you need specialized skill sets. So what's the solution? So there are alternative solutions out there. So one is that you can use ad blocker, and another is you can build custom native mobile apps. But for publishing in e-commerce industry, it has not proven to work. Reason, because most of the media traffics are organic. So you lose your best quality of your web by doing custom or native apps. So couple of companies like, let's say Google or Twitter, came up with 2 approaches. That is, they want to make website faster, and it also needs to be validated properly, and it has to be easy to implement it. So combining combining all these aspects, they have introduced AMP because it has some promising aspects. So why AMP? So when we look at this diagram, there are top 1000 mobile applications versus top 1000 mobile web pages. So mobile web pages get more monthly unique visitors, but app tends to dominate on time people spend on their smartphones. So people tends to spend a lot more time on their app like Twitter, Facebook than they spend on their mobile websites. And people might look web for specific discovery, like people might look for Wikipedia or specific articles, and then they tend to get back to their application. So we can say that app is equal to engagement and web is equal to discovery. So this is quite a potential risk for a company like Google because they have made their search platform mainly for web and not for application. So Google aims to change that, and they came up with AMP to bring mobile experience up to par with compared to native app experience. So you don't have to go to specific app for reading articles, news, or specific content. You can stay in your mobile browser with fully optimized mobile web pages. So what is AMP? So AMP stands for Accelerated Mobile Pages. So it's an open source framework driven by Google with the goal of delivering faster mobile pages to the users. And it's also supported by several publishers like Twitter, WordPress, Pinterest, and many more like The Guardian, etc. And more than 5,000 developers are working on GitHub for this project. So community is also vast. So the vision behind AMP was to create mobile optimized pages, and it is alternate version of your web page. So it's because it builds specifically for mobile, and it builds for speed and acceleration. So what AMP provides? So AMP provides fast loading of your web pages. Then it provides some new standards like AMP's own custom tags for HTML, then its own AMP.js, and then AMP caching mechanism that we will see in upcoming slides. Then it provides rules and validation. So AMP documents are only valid if it does not contain things that might make websites slow. So, and there is also some other rules out there that all the JavaScript has to be asynchronous and all the resource sizing should be fixed. So means you have to, in image, you have to provide fixed width and height. So as per their rule, it should be static. So importance of AMP. So it reduces the page load time. So it's no surprise that one of the main benefits of web page developed with AMP is that the page loads with lightning speed on mobile devices because it is created only for that purpose. Then it improves the search engine ranking. So AMP is greatly improves page load time. So it is highly likely that the website which has developed with AMP is going to be ranked higher in Google compared to slower and unresponsive websites. And it has also multiple support for ads. So because AMP is aimed to support a range of ad networks, formats, and technologies. So the goal is to deliver ads that are fast and allow the content to look good and grab the viewer's attention. So this should help the advertisers to increase their influence and improve their ad spend. And one more importance of AMP is that it does not require large development team and budget. So who is AMP for? So AMP is basically for publishers, for ad tech platforms, and for advertisers. So for publishers, for example, New York Times, Washington Post, The Guardian, for them, it enables constant fast experience. And it speeds up the content as well and keeping users engaged, irrespective of where they have started their search, whether the publisher's own website or some AMP pages like some platform that links with AMP pages like Twitter, Google, or Pinterest. So with faster and more secure ads, AMP delivers great advertising experience too. Then it reduces the complexity because AMP pages are built with simple and straightforward mechanisms. So you can often convert your entire website in days, especially if you use popular CMS such as WordPress, Drupal, Magento, etc. Then AMP is for ad tech platform. So for them, it maximizes the revenue and it increases the reach as well. So speeding up ads is the fastest way to maximize the revenue and boost the performance. So AMP ads loads as fast as content, so they are more viewable and more likely to be engaged with. And for advertisers, it boosts their campaigns because of the performance of AMP websites. So AMP ads are the new way to building ads. So growing number of publishers and advertisers are adopting AMP to deliver faster and more engaging content to their users. So moving ahead, AMP mainly consists of three core components, that is AMP HTML, AMP JS, and AMP Cache. So let's talk about AMP HTML first. So it's a set of custom HTML. Though most tags in AMP HTML page are regular HTML tags, some of the HTML tags are replaced with AMP specific tags that has specific validation and rules. It also has some restriction for reliable performance. So no external CSS or JS are allowed in AMP pages in order to achieve performance. It has custom specification, like it has its own AMP image, AMP ad tags, and that was extended with custom AMP properties. So let's look at how basic AMP doc look like. So it starts with doc type HTML, that's the standard for HTML. Then it contains top level HTML AMP tag, that identifies that the page is an AMP page. So whenever Google crawls your website and it identifies that it has AMP tag, it treats that page as an AMP page. Then it contains head tag, that is optional in standard HTML but not in AMP. You have to put a head tag. Then it contains meta tag, that is for encoding purpose. Then it contains script tag, that includes the AMP script and loads the AMP JS library from Google CDN. This JS library enforces the best practices and it does everything asynchronous. Then it contains link that relates to its canonical non-AMP pages. So that's the two-way of binding. So in non-AMP pages, the link has been provided for AMP pages, and in AMP pages, same way, link has been provided for non-AMP pages. Then it has some custom styles. So those styles are limited to what you can do. And after that is standard HTML with some AMP tags that are replaced with the standard HTML tag. Like image tag has been replaced with AMP image tag to improve the performance of your website as it loads images very quickly. Then it has AMP ad tag to load actual ads. So moving ahead, let's look at AMP.js. So AMP.js is JavaScript library linked with AMP HTML document. So AMP.js basically enforces the best practices. So it does everything asynchronously. So there is no way your page have anything to block rendering. And it has several constraints on design like no objects, no forms, or no applets, for example, are allowed in your AMP page. Then only subset of your tags and selectors are allowed. And then, as I told, all images have fixed aspect ratio. So we know from prior that how responsive layout would look like. So this means it reduces the re-layout of your page. As it preloads your page, into your website. Then it has smart content loading. So for example, images or ads are downloaded only if it's likely to be seen by user and not priorly everything is been loaded. Then no external style sheets are allowed. So only basic CSS selectors are allowed. Then no user authored or external arbitrary JS are allowed. So only JS that has been loaded from Google CDN are allowed. So let's move into Mcache. So Mcache is basically key feature of all of this. So it used to serve cache M HTML pages. So it is basically proxy-based CDN for delivering valid M documents. So what I mean by that is that it's not just about making fast-loading pages. It's also about those pages being served from Google's own app, Mcache. So Google will take your M page and it properly validate, and then they will host them under their own server. So whenever someone requests to particular page to be shown, that page will be shown from the server network. And Google stores M cache with no cost. So this cache can be stored multiple of your copies, and this allows page to be delivered across platform via Google CDN as quickly as possible. And one more thing, that M does all this behind the scene. So you only have to manage the HTML, and M does all by itself. Then it has built-in validation system. So what I mean by that is, if the page gets successfully validated, then it will be pre-rendered from Google Mcache. Otherwise, it will not get pre-rendered. So it validates before rendering into your particular website. So let's look at how Mcache works. So here what happens is that Google will call your M content and load them into their Mcache. So here you can see here Google Mcache is calling several websites like website A, B, C, and then it stores them into their Mcache. So when someone does search on mobile devices and then your content is been requested, in search result page, Google will pre-render content from Mcache. So M pages will already be loaded on your mobile browser before person is actually looking at your content. And Google will only pre-render it if it trusts that you are serving validated M pages. So it has some validation aspect. And it can only do that if it has been already preloaded into the cache. So that's why cache is such an integral part. So this defeats all the ad blocker as well. So you can also you can still block ads from network level, but on browser level you can't, because the page that has been loaded onto your browser has been come from Google's own cache CDN. Moving ahead. So what makes AMP so fast? So there are several aspects. It executes all M JavaScript asynchronously. So when a JavaScript is declared as asynchronous, it tells the browser that execution of this JavaScript is not important. As a page render process, the browser understands that it does not need to wait for all the JavaScript to load before building the actual page. So while the page is being loaded, the JavaScript may get started, but it does not block the render of the page. So to ensure that JavaScript is render blocking, AMP does not allow any JavaScript that has been not asynchronous. So, and another point is, all CSS must be inline and size bound. So in short, this means that CSS cannot be larger than 50K, and it must have to be inline into the HTML. So if you are using any particular CSS framework like Bootstrap, then you may have to change your own way of AMP website. Then font triggering must be efficient. So in a typical web page, many JS and CSS files are loaded before fonts. So This is bad for page load times because font files are typically large compared to JS and CSS files. So the goal for AMP is to ensure that the font request is the first HTTP request and then other requests like JS and CSS occurs. Then it prioritizes the resource loading. So page resources can be images, add, embed, etc. So AMP controls all the resource downloads and it prioritizes the resource loading. So first it loads only the what is required and it refetches into the lazy loaded resources. And then it minimizes the style recalculation. So in non-AMP websites, when something changes or needs to be measured on web page, this affects the whole layout. So the entire page must be recalculated even for minor changes. So AMP is minimizing this as it does style recalculation as prior while prefetching. So moving ahead, I will now hand over this to Kandar. He will explain further topics in detail. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Naitik. So now we will see how AMP works and how we can integrate AMP with the different CMS platforms. So this is the basic diagram of the AMP page rendering. So in left side you can see the all CMS and e-commerce pages. So which integrated the AMPs. So generally all pages have two copies. One is the regular HTML page and second is the AMP HTML page. So regular HTML page directly render into the desktop browser when someone requests from the desktop browser. AMP page is cached by the Google and other AMP supported platform. And when some user are requesting AMP page from the any search engine or any other platform like Pinterest, Twitter and LinkedIn, so it will be served the AMP pages. So this is basic things required to create any AMP pages. So first is document declaration type required. So yes, as per as HTML, we would require that doc type is equal to HTML. For the HTML, we have to pass the AMP as an argument. So it's to tell the system. So this page is the AMP page. We also have to load the one predefined AMP JavaScript, which is provided by the ampproject.org. So which allow us to optimize the HTML and any other performance aspects. Other things, we have to specify the HTML page canonical link on the AMP page. And same way, we also have to specify AMP page link to the non-HTML page. And yes, we CSS which we have to embed, it should be the inline only. So here is all AMP tags which allow us to build the AMP HTML. The AMP tags are quite similar to the HTML tags, but it have two aspects. One, it's optimized for the performance, and it's not block the layout rendering. So AMP image is used for the render the image in the page. AMP YouTube is used for the embed the YouTube videos. AMP analytics is used for the import the analytics tags in your HTML. AMP Vimo is also used for the embed the Vimo video. AMP form is used for the add the form in your AMP page. In same way, carousel is used for the add the carousel. And there are many tags. So you can find the many tags in AMP development guide. So once you develop the AMP page using the tags and all prerequisites, so it should be validated through the out-of-box validation toolbar. So for validate your AMP page, you have to open the AMP page on Chrome browser and just append the development is equal to 1 after end of your URL. So URL would be your AMP page URL has development is equal to 1. So it shows the all error display the page have. So before you publish this page, you have to resolve this error. Let's see this demo in our browser. So I have one AMP page which I have created. This is the AMP page. First, view the error on this page. So I have to just type the development is equal to 1 and open the console bar. It shows me the AMP validation successful. Means there is no error on this page and this page is good for the publish. Now next we will discuss how we can integrate AMP pages in Drupal. So Drupal have pre-set of libraries which allow to integrate the AMP page in our Drupal. PHP AMP library is an open source GitHub library which allow us to create a dynamic AMP page using the PHP. AMP module which provides all configuration related to content type and fields for the AMP. AMP theme is the open source theme provided by Drupal which provides the basic look and feel for the AMP page, which we can extend based on our requirements. Once you install the all prerequisite modules, so you can see the two screens in your admin panel. First one is the content configuration. So it allows us to enable or disable AMP page for any content type. So for example, I want to enable AMP page for the article, and I don't want to enable AMP page for the news. Second configuration is field level configuration. So which allow for what type of tags we have to display for the which field. For example, news image needs to be displayed on AMP image. iframe needs to be displayed on AMP iframe. Description needs to be displayed using the AMP tag, and video needs to be displayed using the AMP videos. Now next is how we can integrate AMP pages into the WordPress and WooCommerce. So there are the presets of library available for the WooCommerce and WordPress. So first one is the AMP framework plugin, so which provides the dynamic functions to create the AMP pages. Second is WordPress AMP plugins, so which allow us all configuration for enable, disable the AMP page for the post and other pages. AMP WooCommerce plugin, so which allow to create the AMP pages for the e-commerce pages like the product page and category page. So let's see the demo how AMP works with the WordPress. So I have installed the WordPress in my local. So when I log in and install the all prerequisite plugin which we have discussed, and try to create the new post. The post will see two type of options. One is the normal regular HTML page, and second one is the AMP page. So let's create the AMP page. Let's add one image in your regular page. For the AMP page, we are using the AMP/img tag. So let's copy the all contents over here and update the EMG tag and click on save. So this is the regular version of your page. If you go to the view source, so you can find the canonical link of the AMP page over here. So after passing the AMP is equal to 1 as an argument, it shows the AMP page. So this is the AMP page which have mobile friendly and with the AMP tags. It's also have other option like for which page you want to enable or disable the AMP page and many more. Now let's see how we can integrate AMP with the Magento. So Magento have some paid module available which allow us out-of-box AMP page creation functionality. But if you want to create your own module or your own solution, so you can create it using the multi-store view functionality. So we have created, if you see in the diagram, so I have created a few different store view, one for the regular HTML and one for the AMP HTML. So when Magento is bootstrapped, so it will check. So its request for the AMP page or its request for the regular HTML page. Based on it, theme will be selected and in browser the request will be displayed. Now next is what all the best practices need to be followed for create any AMP pages. So first one is publish only the valid HTML files. So if you are publish any invalid HTML file, AMP file, so it might be broke in your mobile browser, or it might be broke in a third-party system like Google search, Pinterest, and all these things. Include correct metadata. So it allows us to visible our AMP page on the third-party system like Google search, Pinterest, and Twitter. For example, Google Top Story carousel display the article AMP tags, IMG AMP tags, and video AMP tags. So if you have to display your pages in Google Top Story carousel, so you have to add the particular tag and must have to add the particular tag in your page. Ensure your AMP page is discoverable. So AMP page is only discoverable if you have added the canonical link in your normal pages. Allow crawler to access your AMP files. So you have to set your robot.txt in such a way so all AMP pages are crawlable.
That's it from Kandasan. Thank you very much, Kanda, for helping us out today on this. Now, guys, we have few questions from our audience which we would like to answer to enlighten you more on AMP. First question is AMP only for news articles? Kanda, please answer. Sorry,
So no, basically AMP can be used for almost any kind of content. Like it can be used for directory listing, it can be used for e-commerce website, for movie and reviews website, also for recipes.
Now we have another question, which is, does AMP only work on mobile devices?
No, basically AMP is designed for mobile experience, but you can also view them in desktop browser as well. So like some of the AMP renders beautifully on desktop, but other might look little bit odd. So it depends on how you have designed your AMP pages. So this is the function of how AMP was designed.
Now, third and last question that we have for today, how does Google find my AMPs?
So what it does is basically Google Google's own crawler will check the source code of your pages and it check for AMP HTML tags, which you have specified on your AMP document. So once Google finds a valid AMP document, so what it does is it takes and considers it as an AMP pages, and then it stores that pages into Google's own CDN cache, and then it delivers as per our search result and it pre-renders it.
And that's it for the questions today, guys. If you have any questions, you can email us directly on marketing@novas.com. I repeat again, marketing@novas.com, or just visit our website www.novas.com and fill out a question and form for us, contact us form, and we will be able to answer all your queries and answers that you may have. We will also send you an email which will contain the link to the video and few of the questions that we have answered so far. Now, I'm sorry guys, we do have one more question coming in, which is, will I be able to add AMP to any CMS?
Yes, you can add AMP to any CMS you want. So just you have to design your particular CMS as per AMP rules and validation.
That's it for today, guys. Thank you very much for attending our webinar. We hope you'll enjoy it. And if you have any feedback, just please shoot an email to us on marketing@novas.com. Thank you. Bienvenue. Au revoir.